G'day and welcome to another massive edition of the RDFNL Netball Show. Looking ahead to the next big round in RDFNL Netball. Thanks to Ontime Delivery Solutions. I'm joined by Tara Murray from the Star Weekly. Some big games coming up this weekend after a week off.
It is. I think a few teams would have loved the week off after some tough results the previous round. So hopefully we get some full sides on the court. There's no VNL this weekend, so hopefully full sides on the court and some really good matches.
We'll start off with the first one. It is going to be epic. We've got Diggers Rest and Wallen.
It is. These are two sides that you probably at the start of the season were going to be around the mix, and we've seen Wallen showing they will be up there. I think they're sitting third at the moment after having a draw with Rupertswood in the previous round. And then you've got Diggers Rest, who started the season on fire but has been a little bit disappointing. They had a shock loss to Rockbank, and maybe that might jolt them into action. It was a disappointing one. They had more scoring shots but still couldn't get the win. So if they can get back on the board and get back in that top, around the mix of those top 4 or 5, they've still got a game up their sleeve because they haven't played their game with Romsey. So they've got to stay around that top 6, even that top 4, and they've still got that game up their sleeve.
Even based on form, with that game against Romsey in the coming weeks, that Romsey will probably go into that game as favourites at this point in time. So Diggers Rest really need to step it up.
Exactly, and that's what, I saw Romsey play a couple of weeks ago and they got the win over Riddle, and they were competitive for most of the game against Macedon as well. So they've played some good netball. So it's not an easy match for them at all. So Diggers Rest need to start putting some more wins on the board.
Your tip for this one?
I'll tip Wallen. On the back of their form of lately and their result against Rupertswood, Wallen's hard to go past.
Yeah, I will agree with you on that one here. And the next game is a must-win game here for Melton Centrals. They play host to Macedon. Is an upset on the cards?
Don't think so.
No.
Look, Macedon's last game, they were missing 2 players. They had 2 players on restrictions and still won by 8 goals against a competitive side in Romsey. So the Cats are doing everything right. They're sitting on top of the ladder. They're undefeated. And the thing is, they were quite happy to sacrifice results this year to try new things. So they're bringing players up from B grade. They're changing positions. Obviously, they have lost Amy Carroll, who won't play for the rest of the season. So they're looking at what they're doing with their goal-in options there. So they've got a couple. One, whether they keep bringing Ashley Coxhill up from B grade, or they look at a different option there. So for the Cats, they'll continue to try things. Centrals have been disappointing. Their shooting accuracy's probably been the thing that's let them down the most. But in the end, they're sitting 9th, and it's a spot we're not used to seeing. But I can't see them getting the win this week.
Yeah, if they can get the shooting percentages up around the 85% plus, is going to be fantastic for them. But Macedon will be too strong. Romsey and Rockbank go head to head, and this is going to be an absolute cracker. But we're going to see one of the club stalwarts over the Redbacks. Bronwyn Blair running out for game 200, and she's been in the mix for quite some time. I think as a 15, 16-year-old, and just a wonderful achievement.
It is, from what I believe, the first Romsey netballer to play 200 games. She made her debut in A grade as a 15-year-old, and she's been part of a couple of premierships. We saw last year she absolutely dominated one of the finals for Redbacks on their way to getting that grand final win. So she's been around for a while and had a different combination, and she's still a crucial part of that side. This year, obviously, shooting with Chelsea Ross, they're forming a really good combination in that shooting circle, and she's a key to them when they get their wins. Yeah,
definitely right there. And she's only in her 20s too. I think 400 is not beyond her if she keeps playing at the level that she's been playing at. She's going to be fantastic. But it's not going to be a tough game. Sorry, it's not going to be an easy game here for the Redbacks, because Rockbank are coming in with some great form.
Exactly. I think Rockbank will back themselves. They're coming off 2 straight wins, including a win against Diggers Rest, which I don't think many of us saw coming at all. So it's going to be quite an interesting match. I think Romsey will still be too strong. I saw them, if they have the form they had against Riddle a couple of weeks ago, I can see them getting a good win, but don't discount Rockbank.
Geez, it is if Wallen roll Diggers, which is what we've tipped, and Rockbank can pull off the upset against Romsey, and I never would say it's an upset, but Rockbank could be in the top 6 at the end of this weekend.
Quite easily, and on form they deserve to be. They've shown, they were disappointed obviously to drop the match against Wood and Heskett. That was a very, very disappointing match, but they've managed to gel together. That forward, that shooting circle is now got the combination going. Obviously, Rianne, who's played goals there, has had 3 different shooters in 3 different years, not just in this competition, but her previous competition as well. So it takes some time to get used to that combination and form those connections, and they're starting to get that. So they're only going to continue to build as the season gets on.
Definitely right there. Rupertswood and Broadford.
This will be a one-sided match.
Yep.
Obviously, I think with Rupert's Wood, if they've got their full side, it'll be quite dominant match. I think they'll probably switch some players around, as we've seen them do. Whether they give a couple of the younger players another opportunity might be something we've seen. So they're trying different players in different positions. Obviously, Amy Starzer, who's played defence elsewhere, played a little bit of defence last week for Rupert's Wood. We're more used to her in the shooting circle. You've got Lara Keating stepping out into a wing defence. They've managed to switch their players around, and at the moment they've had one loss and a draw. So other than that, they've had some really, really good results, but I think it'll be quite a one-sided match.
Hopefully Broadford can draw some of that confidence they had against the Hawks and at least be competitive for 3 to 4 quarters, which would be fantastic. Speaking of the Hawks, they travel away to Riddle, and Riddle are flying at the moment.
Well, they've yes, but no. Obviously, they didn't get the result a couple of weeks ago against Romsey. That would have been one they wanted to do, but they quite easily accounted for Melton Central. So Riddle's showing what we sort of expect. They've got a core group of senior players led by Beck Caldwell and Lauren Close. Then they've got a lot of young talent in that side. So, and that's the thing that pleases when you see that side. You watch them play. You've got Kira Baldwin. You've got Brianna DeHaas, and those girls are quite talented young players. And there's a lot of good signs for that club for the future.
Will we see Molly Tresize get another Guernsey after an outstanding performance?
Well, it sort of depends on who they've got in the side. Obviously, they've got quite a few. They would have VNL restrictions last time, so whether that has an impact there, hopefully she gets more opportunity. But you look in that mid-court, Brianne's young, Molly's young, you've got Mika Johns is young, Kira's playing goal defence and she's young, so I think Alan Close is still fairly young. They've got a very young lineup and a lot of players are getting opportunities.
Yeah, maybe sit her on the bench and maybe she can rotate through at some stage just for a little bit of experience. But they are playing a young Hawk side as well who probably don't have the experience that the Riddle young stars have.
Well, even that, it's not necessarily experience. Hawks just don't have those experienced players, so they're lacking your Lauren Close, your Beck Caldwell. You've got these young players who are representing they're representing leagues. You've got Sarah Duff who's going up north representing AFL golfers. So you've got these young players who are getting these experiences. It's just they probably lack the experience to go around them. So the Hawks keep showing they're a young side who is developing, and probably these are two of the clubs with the best young talent in the competition.
Looking forward to seeing how this game goes and looking forward to seeing that young talent rise to the top. Tara, thanks so much for joining us this week, and of course thanks to Ontime Delivery Solutions for their ongoing support. We look forward to catching up with you next week.
Thanks for having me.